Okay, First Lady, over to you.
Thank you, Shannon. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. Today's episode of Ask an Expert centers on childcare, a facet of parenthood that has been brought to national attention through the challenges of the pandemic, and one which, pandemic or not, nearly every mother or father will grapple with at some point in time during their child's early years. Over the past several decades, as women have entered the workforce and households with two working parents have become much more the norm, childcare has become an essential part of the infrastructure of our economy. Quite simply, if a parent does not have a trusted caregiver and safe environment to leave his or her child, that parent can't go to work. Further, studies have shown that contrary to the perception of earlier generations, childcare centers can provide immeasurable benefits to children, including early socialization, establishing structure and routine, and building lifelong skills. Still, the decision on what kind of childcare is right for your family can be a challenging one, which is why I am really thrilled to welcome our experts and begin our discussion. With us today is Cheryl Welte, Director of St. Cecilia's Little Angels Pre-K. Cheryl is a working mother with 4 kids and has over 15 years of experience in her field. She has a bachelor's degree in early childhood and elementary education and is an infant toddler specialist for Rutgers Southern Region Child Care Resource and Referral Agency. Welcome, Cheryl. Also with us is Shirnet FrayPalmer, a registered family child care provider with 15 years of experience at We Care for All Family Daycare in Paterson. Shirnet started her home-based childcare business with her sister in 2004, becoming registered in 2006. As a single mom of 4, Shirnet was inspired to open her own childcare facility because of her personal experience searching for a daycare facility that would meet her family's needs. Welcome, Shirnet. I have to say, between Shirnet, Cheryl, and Team Murphy, we have 12 children. So I think we're all insane, but we all needed this advice here. Next, we have Leela Ortiz, an early childhood education advocate and parent who has also worked as a childcare provider. Leela currently works for the National Speech and Debate Association and advocates for early childhood education in her community. So welcome, Leela. Our next expert is Bonny Fraser, the Deputy Commissioner for Policy, Legal Affairs, and Compliance at the New Jersey Department of Children and Families. For the past 4 years, Bonny has served as a member of the Department of Human Services Senior Management Team, first as Legal and Regulatory Affairs Director, and most recently as Assistant Commissioner for Legal Affairs. Bonny has over 20 years of experience working in state government, with much of it dedicated to advancing New Jersey's efforts to support families. So welcome to you as well, Bonny. And finally, I would like to welcome Natasha Johnson, Assistant Commissioner at the New Jersey Division of Family Development, which is part of the Department of Human Services. For the past 7 years, Natasha has overseen childcare, child support, SNAP food assistance, and Work First New Jersey, the state's public assistance program. Before that, she supervised the day-to-day operations of the temporary assistance for needy families and general assistance programs, as well as the state's child care program and refugee resettlement program. Natasha has over 25 years of experience as a social services clinician, as well as a manager who developed, launched, and supervised social services programs. Natasha also served as the Senior Vice President at Prevent Child Abuse New Jersey, where she worked on a nationally recognized home visitation program and a teen parenting program. I think we've proven we have the credentials to hold this conversation today. So with that introduction, I now welcome Natasha alongside everyone else. Of course, if I missed anything in your background that you would like to share, then please feel free to expand as we go through our Q&A. To those of you who are watching online, Please feel free to ask questions in the comments section, and we will do our level best to get to them before the end of this time together. Okay, now we will get going as I direct our first question to Bonny. For a first-time parent, childcare can be overwhelming. What types of childcare should new parents consider when they are first exploring available options? And perhaps what features should a parent look for in a childcare setting?
Well, thank you for that question. There really are three things that a parent needs to think about when they are looking for childcare. The first is to make sure that they are enrolling their child in a licensed or regulated program. There are approximately 4,000 licensed childcare centers in the state of New Jersey, and there are just over 1,100 registered family daycare providers. These regulated programs are subject to regular inspections where we can evaluate the health and safety and programmatic operations of the centers. The other benefit to enrolling your child in a regulated center is that staff who are employed at that center are subject to background checks, both criminal history and child abuse. And it's important to know that not all child care programs in New Jersey are licensed. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but the licensed programs ensure regular state oversight and can provide you with the assurance you need to know that your children are going to be safe when they're being taken care of by someone else. The second thing a parent can do is to do their homework. There is lots of information available online about New Jersey child care providers. All of our inspection reports, DCF licenses, the child care centers, are available on our website. And the DHS website also has information about the registered child care providers as well. So there is opportunity there to learn more about what each of the centers or how each of the centers performs. And finally, what parents can do is visit a center. If you're considering enrolling your child in a particular program or you have a choice among several, schedule an appointment, check it out, go to see what does the staff-child interaction look like, right? What do the outdoor facilities look like? The indoor facilities look like? Is the center close to your work? Is it close to your home? Does it have extended hours so that if you work a non-traditional job, you have the opportunity to enroll your child during those non-traditional hours? So I would say use the tools that are available to make your decision.
Thank you so much, Bonny. I think that really helps parents to identify specific needs and priorities for their families as they begin their search. I heard three things just then. I heard do your homework. I heard make sure that the center is regulated. And I also heard basically that you're the best advocate for your own children. So make sure you show up and ensure it's clean and happy and safe and has all the aspects that you want. So thank you for that. Okay, now our next question is for Leela. Leela, why did you choose your childcare provider? And what are some qualities of your childcare provider that you think other parents might like to consider? Oh, you're muted.
Had to be on. Thank you for having me. So I chose my provider by winning the lottery. I live in Bergen County, and in my town, there's a lottery for the state-funded pre-kindergarten program for 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds. So each year, 200 pre-K families vie for about 20 spots in a town-wide lottery. Last year, our family won the lottery, saving us $60,000 total in childcare costs for the next 2 years, roughly $30,000 a year. So my 3-year-old twins spent this past school year enrolled in pre-K 3 at the same elementary school as their first grade sister. This coming year, they will be enrolled in pre-K 4 in that same school with the same teacher. They will go on to attend the next 6 years of elementary school, K through 5, in that school as well. I know the principal, I know the teachers, the families at the school are my neighbors, and these children will be their classmates until they graduate high school. So it seemed like a no-brainer. I lucked out for my twins. The qualities of our childcare provider I especially appreciate are the accessibility, affordability, the consistency in programming, the diversity, the curriculum itself, and the required teaching qualifications. The caliber of the public school system in New Jersey is a huge reason why my family lives here. And while I am extremely grateful my 3-year-olds have access to our public school system, it's disheartening that the majority of children their age do not. Families shouldn't have to win a lottery to provide their child with an affordable, quality early childhood education. So many thanks to you, First Lady and the Governor, for your continued commitment to universal pre-K in New Jersey.
Fantastic. Wow. I wish I don't know if that lottery exists across the state. I actually had never heard of that before, but I suspect that everyone on here is trying to figure out how they can get into the same lottery now. I often say this, but it really bears repeating that hearing about the experiences of other parents is often the most helpful when it comes time to make decisions for our own kids. I duly appreciate the #1 public school ranking that New Jersey has held on to now for 3 years in a row. And I'm glad to see that you're benefiting from that as well. Okay, this next question is for both Shirnet and Cheryl, maybe in that order. What made you decide to become a childcare provider? So Shirnet.
So good afternoon. Once again, my name is Shirnet FrayPalmer, and the main reason why I chose to become a childcare provider is because as a single parent, I had issues and concerns about childcare for my own children. I was a full-time worker as well as going to school. And the difference between my childcare is that we operate 24 hours a day. That wasn't something that was readily available at the time that I was raising my children. So understand that you start looking into different areas and say, well, what would parents really need? And it was really my sister and I who decided that, we're going to do something different because we want to help our community and we want to help the families. A lot of our families are officers and nurses. They have different scheduling. So we wanted to do something different for the community. And therefore we decided we were going to start. And we started as a 24-hour facility. And we still continue to this day as a 24-hour facility, 7 days a week. So that's the reason why, because we wanted quality childcare for our parents, and we also wanted to ensure that they were able to be serviced in the way that they needed to be serviced.
Excellent. Thank you. I didn't know there was a 24-hour childcare service provider, so that's unbelievable. Okay, Cheryl, I think you're next.
Yes, hi. Okay, so I kind of fell into it in the beginning. I was 23 years old, graduated college, and just figured, why not do this? I love to build brains, be that brain architect, as some people say, and really help the children grow and succeed and find their goals and find that excitement when I was in the classroom. And then I had children, and I was like, let me see what else is out there. I got myself stable. I went to become an infant toddler specialist. And then I had to stop because I realized I can't afford childcare. It's so expensive. So I came back to the childcare center that I was at, and they actually offer staff-free childcare due to the fact that it's so expensive and you're not making as much as you should be making building the brains of children. So I've been here ever since and just loving growing with the children, just watching the children and parents come in. And I feel as a director here, I can sit there with the parent and actually feel what they're feeling. I can hold that. It's tangible in my hands because of my children. And I know how I would feel dropping off my children to some unknown place that you're just saying, I hope you treat my child well. So it's my duty and my passion to be there for the parents and to be there to build the brains of the children.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Cheryl. Thank you for sharing your journeys. I know as a mom, I was always interested to learn what drew those helping to care for my children to their profession. So I thank you both. Okay, Leela, I want to switch gears just a little bit to the lifelong implications of childcare. How has your child's growth and development been impacted by childcare?
This really follows nicely with what Cheryl just said. It's really made a tremendously positive impact on the growth and development of my children. Their fine motor skills, social skills, interactions with their peers, even being able to interact with their peers, emotional intelligence, comprehension, they've all improved and at times even excelled, thanks to guidance by early childhood providers. Last year, my daughter in pre-K 3 received the Student of the Month Award for character and cooperation because she plays well with others and is always willing to help her classmates. What an amazing quality, character, and a fantastic skill, cooperation, to begin to cultivate in a 3-year-old, to first recognize these attributes in my daughter and then develop them further. That's a superhero right there who did that, or rather an early childhood education teacher.
Wow, what a great shout out. Excellent, thank you. This is so important for parents to keep in mind as they're going through the process of finding childcare and being separated from their child for what is possibly the very first time. Huge shout out for our childcare workers. So great job, Leela. Natasha, our next question is for you. GROW NJ Kids is New Jersey's quality rating improvement system for early childhood programs. The system seeks to raise the quality of childcare and early learning throughout the state and provides parents with information and tools to help them select a quality program and make the best choices for their child. What are some quality indicators parents should know about?
Thank you for that question and good afternoon, everybody. Leela, you gave me a nice segue into what I want to talk about with GROW NJ Kids. So there's a couple of things before I talk about GROW NJ Kids and some of the quality indicators, because Leela's right. So there's a lot of research on the development of a child's brain between birth and age 5, right? So, and a lot of things that influence that. The child's relationship with their caretakers and their parents, their experiences, their environment. So I like to talk about quality childcare with parents different than babysitting, because there's some distinct differences, right? So quality childcare provides education at an early age that's age appropriate. And the long-term goal in a quality early childcare facility is making sure that your kids are prepared for school, right? Because we want our kids to be successful when they hit kindergarten through the 12th grade. So in our GROW NJ Kids, which is our quality rating and improvement system for the state of New Jersey, there are 5 quality indicators that I think parents should be aware of. So I'm just going to quickly give you what those are and a little bit about each. So the first is a safe and healthy learning environment. So these are things like knowing that the provider and the center or the family childcare home is clean and sanitary, and simple things like hand washing. Is your provider teaching your child to wash their hands, how to properly wash their hands? Are they washing their own hands, right? So you want to know that after they change a diaper, that the teachers and the caretakers are washing their hands, just as a quick example. Does the program support breastfeeding? If you are a nursing mom, and do they have a place, or do they know how to store breast milk properly? Is there a place for you to nurse if you choose to do it there? Is the outdoor space safe? How do they supervise children during different situations throughout the day? So while they are sleeping or while they're outside playing, those are sort of important things in that category that parents should ask questions about and want to understand. The second quality indicator is curriculum. So sort of like school and going into school. And Leela talked about her kids being able to be in this preschool program, and then they're going to be going into kindergarten through 6 at the same place. So similar to that environment, you want to know that there's age appropriate lesson plans, right? Age appropriate books and toys. Does the curriculum that they're using support child development? Math concepts. These are simple things about knowing that your kids at this age at preschool, are they counting? You know, do you see artwork on the walls? Are they working on art? Do they have time to read every day? And do they have free time to play and pick their own books to read? So again, just some questions that you want to ask the provider as you are looking to select childcare. The third indicator is family engagement. So asking if there's activities to engage parents, how are parents communicated to and with throughout the day and throughout the time that your child is with that provider? Are you allowed to visit whenever you want to? It's a very important question and something that you want to know from your provider. And then just generally how information is shared with parents is very important. So you really want to know how the families are going to be engaged with their child. The fourth indicator is about professional development. So parents should feel comfortable asking their providers about whether the teachers have ongoing professional development. Are they trained in the curriculum that they are implementing? Are they up to date on CPR and first aid? Are they encouraged to advance their education? Again, just some simple questions as you're going through to ask the provider. And then the fifth and last one is just understanding the administrative practices of your provider. So is there a parent handbook? Are there policies that guide the operation of that center or family childcare home? Is the program director on site, right? These are, again, some important questions for you to ask and understand how the program is operated. And Bonnie talked before about our websites. There's great information out there for parents to go onto. So the childcarenj.gov website, there is a quality childcare checklist that talks about the 5 indicators that I just mentioned, and then some specific questions that parents can take with them in order to guide them as they're asking some of these questions of providers.
Thank you, Natasha. That really sheds light on how providers and facilities are assessed. And I'm very happy that you shared the website again, because I'm sure that was going to be one of my questions. I also have a follow-up question for you. As so many families know, childcare costs can take up a lot of the monthly budget. What state programs might be available to families to make childcare more affordable?
So in New Jersey, we have what we call the Childcare Assistance Program. So it's designed to support low and moderate income families to afford childcare. There is criteria for eligibility for this program. So there is an income eligibility to be met, and you also have to be employed and or working or in a training program. In every county, there is a child care resource and referral agencies. These are the agencies that administer this program for us at the local level in each county. So, and First Lady, I'm going to keep dropping this website again just to send people to it, but childcarenj.gov. If you go on, you can search your county, find the child care resource and referral agency in your county. And they're really here to help you assess all childcare needs. So even if you're not eligible for the child care assistance program, the child care resource and referral agencies in every county are there to help you find childcare close to your work, close to your school, that meets the needs of what you want. If you want a, registered family childcare home or a licensed childcare center, or if you're interested in Head Start or early Head Start or the pre-K program, they can provide all of that information for you. So if you go on the website and search by county, you can find the child care resource and referral agency, and they'll be happy to walk you through that process.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Affordability and accessibility are really 2 of our administration's major priorities, and childcare is one of the biggest expenses of any household with children. So I will one up you, and I will also reiterate childcarenj.gov. Go there. Okay, our next question is for both Shirnet and also Cheryl. What precautions have childcare centers taken to keep their children safe during the pandemic? Cheryl, you want to tip off this time, since I guess Shirnet did last time?
Sure. Okay, so I'm actually glad I went next, because Natasha, I'm part of Grow New Jersey Kids. We're a 4-star rated center. So with COVID, obviously it was stressful. It was panic. It was draining, but at the same time, hand washing was the same. Diaper changing was the same. Sanitizing and disinfecting was pretty much the same, because we had that level that we have to keep going in order to be a Grow New Jersey Kids Center. So everything was a lot more, doubled one, but at the same time, it was pretty smooth, because we had Grow New Jersey Kids with us and along the way. We had the masks. The masks didn't seem to bother the kids as much as the adults, but that was just the day as it goes. And then with the help of the grant money, that was a blessing, because we were able to get our roof done. We were able to get different things done around the center that made us be able to stay longer. Because without that, we wouldn't have been able to stay open, due to the fact of not having the funding or the money to go for the roofs and all that stuff. When we had situations, we had DFPs, the CCR&Rs, the health consultants, TAS, they all played an a significant role, and the ITSNs played an significant role with helping us through. They held our hand through everything. We could call them constantly, and they were there to guide us through, or when we were having our moments of, oh, this is a lot. We can't do this anymore. They were there to coach us through it. Some of the changes we did have, though, were limited class sizes, which was tough on money situations, but we were a subsidy center. And like I said, we are a 4-star Grow New Jersey Kids Center. So with that, we were able to take the money with our subsidy children and be able to make that work in the classrooms and for educational purposes.
Fantastic. Thank you. Shirnet?
So just to piggyback on what Cheryl said, because I was already a Grow New Jersey rated family childcare, it really just amplified what we were already doing. Just like Cheryl said, the washing of the hands, the way in which we change the children, so on and so forth. One of the things that actually change for us is that we no longer allow parents to come in. The children were allowed to come in once they've been COVID tested and so on, but the parents, everything now was virtual. So we went virtual. So if the parents wanted to register, they can download the application on the website. If they wanted to view the daycare, there was actually an online virtual tour that they could have taken. So a lot of things pretty much turned into a virtual world for us, and have since actually stayed in place because it works even better for a lot of the parents because of their time, the way how they work. So that was really a benefit for us, that we were able to establish that. Our meetings all are on virtual. We had the Zoom, if we have our intakes, they're on Zoom. Our parent meetings are on Zoom. So we're still keeping the parents abreast of all information, but everything has gone virtual. So yeah.
Thank you both. I'm just curious to ask about, since we're talking about the pandemic anyway, how you're thinking through vaccines and things as you go back into the next school year, given that I think probably they weren't available, I'm guessing, but the end of the last school year, but I all these dates have gone in and out of my brain, so I can't really remember. But if either of you have any thoughts on that, I'd love to hear what they might be.
I'm sorry, Cheryl, did you want to go?
No, go ahead. I'll go.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so for us, as far as vaccine goes, a lot of our families are, for religious reasons, choose not to. So the protocol for those families is that they need to be tested continually at this point, meaning if a child exhibits any form of fever or runny nose or whatever the case may be, they have to be tested, because at the end of the day, we're not going to demand you to be COVID, to be vaccinated. However, we still have to safeguard ourselves. And because we are family childcare, we also have to make sure that we ensure the safety of our family as well.
Understood. Cheryl, do you want anything, or are you good?
We are just going to follow what the OOL tells us, the Office of Licensing, and just keep going with the emails and the back and forth with that. I don't have it's a tough answer to give, because it's, there's two sides to it. So I'm taking it day by day and trying to figure out the situation.
I think that's what we're all doing now. Okay, well, thank you both. The pandemic clearly brought some truly unprecedented challenges. And with our youngest children being the last to even have the option of getting a vaccine, keeping them safe has been so difficult. We are really grateful to our childcare providers for all that they have done. You're part of our frontline workers, so thank you. Finally, a last question is for Leela. Leela, as a mother of 3 who has also previously worked in childcare, Can you share any advice or wisdom for parents looking for childcare? What would you recommend childcare providers keep in mind?
So for parents, really look at what's offered in your area and what works best for your family. Do you have access to state-funded pre-K? My town has a lottery and that can only accommodate about 10% of the need, but one town over, they can accommodate about 90% of the need in their lottery. So it really is a town by town basis right now in the state. So you can look into that. Subsidized childcare is discussed. When looking at a provider, what are the ages that they accept, hours, prices, what are their policies? Is financial assistance offered? That can be on a case-by-case basis or a facility-by-facility basis. More big factors to consider include the curriculum, the teacher's credentials, the diversity, the specific location itself, and the accessibility involved at that location, the classroom size, the play space, their family engagement, communication practices, whether they have a camera view capabilities, meal options, and any additional programming or fees that may be included can really vary facility by facility. So finding what meets your needs, because there is so much variety, I think is important. And parents may not realize that, you really can find something. You just have to look. And of course, the childcarenj.gov is a perfect place to start. And then for providers, I would just say, please continue to be patient and adaptable with parents and children. We all want what's best for our children, and we're all trying our best to provide that. I think COVID sort of highlighted all of these struggles. And while it may often feel like a thankless job, you have such an enormous impact on so many little lives. So thank you for caring for our future.
Thank you so much, Leela. It is so helpful to hear from parents, especially those who have been on both sides of the childcare experience. So thank you. I do not believe that we have any questions online. So with that, I'm going to just do a quick buzz around and see if anybody wants to say something they didn't have a chance to say already. And I'm just going to go on the order of my screen. So with apologies. But Leela, is there anything you wanted to throw out there before we close down here?
Just really, we're all in this together. And while you might feel, oh, I'm the only one going through this, I promise you are not. And just reach out.
Great advice. Cheryl, how about you?
I just want to reiterate the importance of subsidy. This subsidy is really helping parents work and be able to survive through their life and be able to pay for their groceries and be able to pay for everything and not have to worry so much about childcare and the safety of their children. And that Grow New Jersey Kids, if you are looking for childcare for your child, see if they have Grow New Jersey Kids in your area, because that takes it to the next level, and they're really pushing for that quality and fun and play for your child, not just sitting and writing and reading, but that fun and exploration for your child to really learn and engage and enjoy life.
Fantastic. Shirnet?
So basically, it's just to go back to what Ms. Natasha had said, is just ensuring that you do your research. And to piggyback on Cheryl, definitely find out the information on whatever provider you hope on choosing. So definitely do your research. Ensure that your providers have their information well posted and that everything is transparent, because that's the biggest thing for any parent and or provider, transparency.
On that. Okay, Bonny?
So I think, as you said previously, First Lady, accessibility is so important. And we also know that staffing is becoming a significant challenge for many of our licensed facilities. And with support from this administration, DCF is undertaking a couple of initiatives to try to help bridge those gaps. And one of them is to undergo a study to determine really where are there shortages of slots, and what do we need as a state? It does vary region by region because we're a very diverse state, but we are going to hopefully within a year or less have some really good solid information working with our partners at Rutgers to really start to get to where do we have a need, and then we can figure out how we can fill it. And then the other project we're undertaking is to establish a credentialing system for our childcare workforce so that they could become licensed or accredited prior to employment, which would make sure they have their clearances in advance, which would ensure that they would be ready to go day one to work in the centers, and it would hopefully provide a career path for them, which would incentivize remaining in the industry. So we're really excited about those initiatives, and I look forward to talking about them when we get a little bit further along.
Fantastic. Okay, Natasha, last but not least.
Thank you. So I think over the last 2.5 years, the concept of it takes a village could not have been more true. And so I do want to say to all of our parents out there, thank you for your patience and resilience. And this has been a long, hard struggle. To all the childcare providers, you all were literally on the front lines through this entire time. And I think parents are internally grateful. We are as well. You had a very challenging job, and we really appreciate all that you've done. And I have to say to the staff at the Human Services Division of Family Development, Bonny's staff at DCF who've worked hand in hand with us, we have done a lot through this pandemic and under this administration to just push money out to providers, continue to support our programs and Growing J Kids, not lose sight of the fact that quality is still important, but needing to balance the fact that we were in a very unknown situation for a very long time. How do we get through this, but still make sure that our kids are safe and secure while they're with their providers, and that you guys got what you needed from us? So we will continue on that journey together. So I just want to give a collective thank you to everyone that's been involved in this process, because it has been a very long road.
Natasha, want to give a shameless shout out one more time to the website?
Yes. So please go to childcarenj.gov for all the information. And I will give another shameless shout out to our CCNRs. They've done a lot of work there. And I just want to reiterate that regardless of whether you're eligible for our childcare assistance program, the CCNRs in each of your county are there to help you with your childcare needs. It's a huge decision to make, and we're there to support you. So please check that out.
Great. Okay, so thank you to our incredible experts for sharing their time and knowledge with us today. I hope that this discussion was helpful for any family that might be searching for a childcare provider. The experience of returning to work for any new parent can be a tough transition, and it's completely normal to feel anxious or concerned about leaving your baby or child with someone new. I do hope today's discussion has helped parents to perhaps identify some of their biggest priorities in finding the right provider for their family, as well as available resources to help with affordability. I also hope anyone watching will also share this episode via social media to help reach other parents who are also facing these decisions and questions. Certainly, there was a lot of information and tips that were shared today, and I think it's really important to share it with others and pay it forward. As always, you can find our entire Ask an Expert series on my Facebook page with interviews with a broad range of experts, so don't hesitate to use it as a resource. I want to thank again Leela, Natasha, Bonny, Shirnet, and Cheryl. Thank you to my incredible team for pulling all of you together and making today's episode as thoughtful as ever. And thank you to all of you who are watching from home. We'll see you again next month for another installment of Ask an Expert. Take care. Bye-bye.